not planning on breaking this into 2 parts, but my sister called me, and that's okay, so I'm just going to finish filming what I have left. The first book, or the next book I have, is Asylum by Madeline Rowe, and this book is amazing. Like I said, it has like the creepy old pictures in it, so that's cool. Basically what this book is about, it is about a teenager named Daniel Crawford. He goes to a college prep program over the summer where he meets Abby and Jordan, and the thing they do not tell them, or I think they do tell them this, I can't remember, it's been a while since I've read it, they have to stay in the old asylum because the dormitories are being renovated. So at first he doesn't really think anything of it because it's on the campus and they've cleaned it up and everything, and it's not an asylum anymore, obviously. But then he finds a photograph, and then he starts finding more photographs that tell him maybe that this place has a darker history than he thought it did. This book is really creepy. I think it's probably the creepiest out of all of these, except for Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That one is really creepy. So, yeah. This book is really good. The next book I have is Let's Get Lost by Adiel Said. I've talked about this one before. I don't know if I've recommended it. But basically what this book is about, it is, how many different stories again? I can't remember. 4 teenagers, and each one is their story. Basically, it is one big story. It just has a lot to do with adventure and friendship, and it is so good. But it basically tells each one of their stories. Each one of them has a problem to face. And Layla, the girl who is basically traveling to see the Northern Lights, she helps them solve their problems, as well as them helping her solve her own problems along the way. This book is so good. It's great for summer because it does have travel, it does have adventure. It's really good. It's really good, and I really recommend it. It's so good. I think if you liked Paper Towns, you'll probably like this book. So yeah, moving on to the next one in case my sister calls me again. This next book, I know I've recommended this one. I know I've talked about this one several times. I think I've talked about this one just as much as I've talked about All the Bright Places. This is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. And what this is about, it is about a boy named Holden Caulfield, and he gets kicked out of school again because he's flunking every subject except for English. So basically what this story is, he goes to New York and all kinds of crazy crap goes down. All kinds of stuff happens. And he's basically telling us the story of everything that happened to him, what he encountered, who he encountered, and how he feels about it. This book is amazing. It's not for everybody because a lot of people in my English class did not like it. But this book is absolutely incredible, and as you can see, I've read it several times because it's very worn out, and I need to get a new copy sometime. I don't know when, because this copy is special because it's all highlighted. So I probably won't get a new copy until this one physically falls apart to the point where I cannot read it anymore. But yeah, it's good. It's a classic. Just go read it. It's fantastic. The next book I have is Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I know I recommended this one in my Friday the 13th book recommendations. Basically, this book is about, it takes place in a small southern town, and the main character, Ethan, he basically is used to nothing exciting ever happening around this place because it's boring and everything's been the same for decades and decades and decades. And then a new girl named Lena Duquesnes comes into town and everything changes. She's different, and people in Gatlin do not like different, to put it nicely. And eventually he figures out just what makes her different, and it is that she is a caster, which is a fancy word for, I guess, witch maybe. But he eventually figures out that she has these powers, and she's not the only one who has these powers. And it is so good. It's full of magic and romance, and yes, it's so good. This is the first of the Caster Chronicles series. There are 4 books in that series. So yeah, this book is fantastic. And then this next book I'm going to recommend, it's really best to read the Caster Chronicles first before moving on to this one because it is a spin-off series. Anyway, this series is about 2 characters taken from Beautiful Creatures from the Caster Chronicles. It is called Dangerous Creatures, also by Kami Garcia and Margaret stole. What this book is about Link and Ridley. It is basically their love story and everything in between, and it is, oh my god, it is amazing. I read this book over a year ago now, I think. Yeah, I read this book over a year ago, and finally I got the second book, which, that was in my May book haul, I believe, book 2, which is Dangerous Deception. So, yeah, this book is wonderful, but you need to read the Castor Chronicles first, or you will not know half of the characters they are mentioning, because there are more characters in the Castor Chronicles that come in later. Of course, there are, like, the basic characters in this book as well, but there's also newer characters that don't come in to the Castor Chronicles until, like, the second, third, and fourth book, so, yeah. Plus, I think if you read this book first, you will just, like, spoil the entire Castor Chronicles for yourself, because this book does contain spoilers, because it was meant for readers who have already finished the Castor Chronicles, which, at the time I read Dangerous Creatures, I had not finished with Beautiful Redemption, but that was okay, because I pretty much knew what happened, because I've had friends who read the series and like, oh, well, this happens, and then this happens, and then that. So I basically knew what happened in all the books already. Well, not all of them, but just the last 2 in the series. And so, I mean, I just went ahead and read this one when I was still in the process of reading Beautiful Redemption, which is the final book in the Castor Chronicles series. I don't know if they're calling this one the Castor Chronicles or not, or this is going to be its own little series name. I'm not sure. And I have Batman duct tape in here. It glows in the dark because I don't like it when my covers slip and slide. It's annoying. Yeah, that was my book recommendations video, which is in 2 parts because my sister called me, but yeah, it's done.